Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while, but I actually had some completed journals that I just kind of wanted to come on and give you a flip through of them. And so I'm going to start off with this one. So this is my December daily from last year. So this is my 2021 December daily. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you a little flip through of this completed journal. This December daily, I made it in a way so that it can grow as like I fill it up. But my December was very lackluster. Like absolutely nothing happened. And yeah, so a lot of it is just filled with like mixed media, like art journal pages, and a lot of journaling. I was going through a lot of stuff emotionally in December, and so this journal is filled with all of that. So I actually constructed this journal exclusively for my patrons. So I will leave a link to the lovely collective in the description box down below in case you want to join. So there's a step-by-step like process post there of how I created this journal, but it's basically two covers that I kind of patched work with different fabrics, and then I attached it with a lace spine and some seam binding, and yeah, it's very pretty. This is what I wanted my color scheme to be for this journal, was sort of like the blues and some minty greens and some white, just kind of make it feel really crystal. But I did also want to add in some of this red. And so I actually have a palette that I created for this because for December, I was actually following prompts from Kasha Avery from Everything Art. I believe she changed the name of her Advent calendar to Care December for 2021. And so I was loosely following some of the prompts. So a lot of the sort of mixed media type pages that I do in here were responses to those prompts. And so this journal was kind of like a mixture of art journaling with like regular straight journaling, like writing, and a little bit of memory keeping thrown in. Like I said, not much happened in December for me, so there was not much to memory keep, but I kind of added in a few bits here and there. And so this is the cover page. I just wrote out December 2021. And then this is sort of like my intro, or like how Ali Edwards puts it, the reason why. But I just like to do it like an introduction. And I think like one of the first prompts for Care December was to create a color palette. And so this was my color palette. I based it off some of the colors that I used for like the pages, but this is kind of what I wanted to go for. I actually put some fabric here as well. And yeah, I didn't really actually stick with this color palette, but these were the colors that I was allowing myself to use in this journal. And so I just kind of tipped that in here and then just made like a collage, and then of course more writing. I tried to journal in this daily, and so I believe I did have an entry for every single day. So that was like, this was all day one, and then this was day two. The little girls next door, I tutor one of them in math, and then the younger one, she likes to give me little art and stuff that she does. And so I used to do this as a kid, where you have like paint on the end of a string and you just kind of whirl it around like that. And so she asked me which one that I liked, and I actually liked, I think she had like an orangey pink one, but then but she was going to give it to me, and I'm like, actually, can you give me the blue one so that I can put it in my journal so that it like matches? And so I just kind of put it in this little glycine pocket. And then I just wrote that, you know, she gave me this little piece of artwork and it's so cute and I like having it here. I use this little die cut from Lace and Whimsy. It's like an old one that I had in my stash because it's a fairy and I thought it was appropriate. This is an example of one of sort of like the art journal pages in my journal. This was day 3. I guess, again, I was going through a lot of things emotionally and mentally during this month, and so a lot of it is just kind of me just getting it all out. And so this is a clipping from Daphne's diary. It will be all right. And this I bought, like, I like buying stamps, like clear stamps that are like florals. And what I like doing is like stamping them onto a page and then fussy cutting them out. And so that's what that is there. Some more fabric. Trying to get those colors in. Day 4, I think I documented here playing Gartic phone on Discord with my friends. And so this was one. It's an online game that you can play like with your friends online, and it's basically sort of like Pictionary. It's kind of like, okay, it's like telephone, when you whisper into somebody's ear and then that person whispers to somebody else. It's like that, but like drawing. And so this was one of the favorite ones from this round, and so I just kind of printed them out and put them in here, wrote about that. Just having time with friends was really helpful. I tried to do that as much as possible in December because I was going through a lot of things. Day 5 was another art journal spread. I was using a lot of these pieces that I've had from Lace and Whimsy for forever. So I used the Pegasus, I used some of the stars, and then some of these moon phase stickers that I had. I think the prompt for Care December was the moon, and so this was my response to that prompt. Again, be gentle with yourself. Just a lot of kind of, I guess, affirmations just for me, just to, things will get better. Straight up journaling. I don't know what happened this day. I did do like some little collage here and over here. But yeah, some days were just journaling, just writing stuff down. Oh, this was the Care December prompt about clouds. And so I just had fun using my paints and drawing some clouds. And again, another affirmation here. Today I choose to be happy. Again, this was just me. I think all of the journaling pages like this have some sort of positive affirmation on it. I guess it's just me trying to kind of channel all of that energy, because that's what it is, into my art journal or into my journal, and then just kind of leaving a little positive thing behind. I think that's been my process with journaling in these small journals. This one was a hot mess. I think this was also a Care December prompt. I don't even actually know what I wrote here, but it is a hot mess. Just adding color and scribbles and swatches. This is not something that I normally would do in an art journal. This is so out of my realm, but I kind of wanted to be a bit more loose and be a bit more free to just kind of channel all that energy into the page. And so that is what this is. So that's day 8. 9, again, there's something about just smearing paint onto a page, and there's a lot of fun in using acrylic inks to just kind of drop ink splatters all over things, and so that's what this one is. And I'm sure these were responses to Care December. I just don't honestly remember all the prompts. This was another journal spread. This, I actually had a stamp that said keep going, keep growing. So I stamped it out there. And again, it's one of those art journal spreads where I just kind of leave a little positive affirmation for myself in. I actually had fun with scribbles. I don't generally do scribbles as sort of the main focal point, but I was kind of channeling my little Allie Brown here and how she just kind of freely kind of scribbles with graphite. Yeah, just playing around in this journal. That's pretty much what it was. Just me playing around in this journal. So day 11 was just journaling. I think I was journaling about this for this year and for my one little word and sort of my whole unfurling process. I actually revamped my A Gentle Unfurling Instagram account. It was an account that I had that I was sharing sort of creative self-portraits on, and then that project sort of died out, and so I revamped that, and that has been a place where I've just been dumping sort of real life things on, because I kind of reassessed everything in terms of social media and stuff like that, and I like the idea of having Ariel Lovely as just journaling, just where I put all of my journaling, that is all the content that goes there. I tried to incorporate more real life stuff in that too, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, so I decided just to separate the two. So if you want to follow me along real life on A Gentle Unfurling, I've been doing a lot of unfurling there. That is where I do most of my one little word stuff, and just kind of share my creative self-portraits and like the books that I'm reading and all that stuff. So, and like random thoughts. Like I've been writing a lot in the captions of certain posts because I have a lot of thoughts to share. And so I think that's what I was journaling about here, sort of kind of revamping that space for that purpose. Like that purpose for me is just I like how things look on a feed. You know, I just like it. I'm having fun sort of curating that space. Eventually when the weather gets better, I do want to do some photography and like go on photography walks and like just kind of hone that interest of mine and sort of kind of learn and play around with that. And so I kind of want to share those photos specifically on this account. So if you are interested in following me over there in sort of like a real life space, please do. It's a gentle unfurling. I think there's a link on the about page on my channel, but I will leave a link down below for that. So day 11, that's what I was journaling about. Day 12, I think it was a weekend, and I remember I had to return some clothes. So me and my mom took a trip downtown, first time in a while because, you know, the C-19 and everything. And it was fun. It was a good day. It was a good afternoon. And so that's that. And then I believe this is the next day, and a lot of journaling went on here. I'm not going to read it. I don't know what it was. I think I was talking about how December felt like a huge pause for me. But yeah, a lot of journaling, a lot of collaging with different scrap pieces of paper, and that was that. And then day 14, I got my Get Messy book, and so I had to take a picture and print the picture and put it in here to, you know, to show that I got my Get Messy book on December 14th, and it's so pretty. I actually did start reading it. I'm terrible at art books. I really am. I buy them. I don't look through them. I don't read them. They just sit on my shelf, and so I've been really mindful to read them. I actually did finish one art book, and so I think I'm on page 50 of the Get Messy one, and so I'm hoping I can finish it this month. Day 15 was just another one of those art journaling sessions of just scribbling, adding pieces in, stuff like that. This is actually a quote from a podcast. It's perfectionism is a defense mechanism. And so at the end of November, so the beginning of December, I actually started a new part-time job, and I am now a social media manager for a personal growth, mental health, wellness podcast. And so I'm in it. As I'm dealing with my own mental health, I'm actually in it. Like, the podcast is between a father and son, and the father is a clinical psychologist, and the son, he's not really a psychologist, but he's into his job, his dad's work, and together they host this podcast about, different topics. And I believe one of the first topics that I was working on in terms of social posts was one about perfectionism. And the son literally said perfectionism is a defense mechanism in that episode. And that really resonated because the way that they were explaining perfectionism is that, this is something that you develop as a kid. You're either one of two children. You tend to overachieve as a way to, to be validated, or you are sort of like the comedian or the slacker, or you do things to make people laugh in order to get that validation, and you can go either way, really. I think a more secure person would be somewhere in the middle, but for the most part, a lot of us go in either direction, and it's a way of self-preservation as a child. And so that is a type of defense mechanism. And I am a perfectionist. I like to tell people that I'm a recovering perfectionist because I dealt with this a lot of feeling like I needed to be perfect and had to do things perfectly, because without doing, if I didn't do that, I didn't have any worth. And so just to get that in here, to scribble, and this is a charcoal pencil, and if you know anything about charcoal and glossy surfaces, it smears everywhere, and it's not perfect, and it's messy, and that just needed to go into my journal at this time, because it was, for me, very profound, just because of my own experience. So that was day 15. day 16 is all of this, okay? So I think this was my last tutoring session with my neighbor's kid before like the holiday breaks. And so the little girl, the one that I do not tutor, she gave me a snowflake that she made. And of course the snowflake had to go into my journal. And so I glued it right into my journal and then added some sentiments here, catching snowflakes, cheerful snowflakes, and then I put the date. I did some journaling about that. This is a Lace and Whimsy sticker. And then the little girl that I actually tutor gave me a card. They actually also gave me a little gift. One of them actually made this crystal soap. So it's actually soap, but it looks like a crystal. I'm probably never going to use it as soap because it's so pretty as a crystal. And so it's just been sitting on my desk, just pretty much looking pretty. But they gave me that. And so of course I had to put all the paper bits into my journal. And so I tucked the card in here. And yeah, I think day 17 was just journaling. Day 17 was just journaling, and this is the transition from the first signature to the second one. So day 18, I just documented watching Hawkeye. I basically binged this thing, and then I had to wait for like the last episode to come out. And so that's, I think, what I talked about here, just watching Hawkeye. Great show. I really like the Marvel shows. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. And then here I wrote a poem. I'm not sure if this was a response to one of the Care December prompts, but I did write this out and then I cut it up and put it here. And then this was a printable from Calm magazine. It was an old magazine, and I just kind of put it here because it's winter. So since I didn't have much going on in December, I ended up watching a lot of things, and a lot of it was Disney Plus. I watched Ron's Gone Wrong, which was the cutest movie, oh my god, that I've seen in a while. Like, it was so cute. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I actually loved it. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus, and it's so stinking cute. And I think that's what I wrote about. And so, okay, here, December 21st, I actually took a screenshot of the podcast that I work for. It's called Being Well Podcast. I will leave a link in the description in case you are interested in checking it out. What I post on the Instagram feed are just clips, like our significant clips from each episode for that week. So every week there's a new episode, and every week on Instagram there are new clips from that new episode. And these are just like the really significant sort of, like the standout points from the episode. But yeah, I'll leave a link down below to Being Well if that is something you're interested in. It's a personal growth, mental health, just kind of personal wellness podcast. I actually have been enjoying it, like listening to it as I work. Like, it's interesting. I always said that I would never want to be a social media manager. Like, I've always done like communications type stuff. I really want to be a website manager. I want to manage a website. But this sort of kind of not fell into my lap, but I applied for it, and then it ended up changing. And the guy was just like, the son, Forrest, he was just like, yeah, I think you would be a really good fit for this. Let me know if you're interested, because it was different from what I had applied for. And since I wasn't working after Little Island, I just kind of took it, even though I wasn't really sure if it was something that I wanted to do, because again, I did not want to be a social media manager. But I took it anyway, and a lot of it is design work, designing the little graphics and stuff. But I'm also managing the feed, obviously. But it's actually been very, very enjoyable, and I think it's because of the subject matter. I think it's because of the topics. I'm learning a lot and applying a lot of the stuff that they talk about to kind of my own life, and it's actually been helping me through sort of this really kind of dark emotional period that I've been going through. And so I had to put that in here because that was a very significant part of my December. It was literally the first month that I started working for them, and I noticed the change in my mindset. It fluctuates, it goes up and down because that's what emotions do, but I'm just going with the flow, and I'm actually really enjoying the work. It could be more hours, but you know what? I am in the process of looking for another job to supplement because realistically, I would love to keep this one. And so yeah, I will leave a link in the description box down below if you want to check out the podcast. So that was the 21st. So the 22nd was like the one day that I kind of left my house and got to spend time with people. So one of my friends, she was going to go to California towards the ending of the year, and her birthday is the 28th. And so normally every year we do sort of like a Christmas birthday singy together. And of course, it didn't happen in 2020. And so we figured 2021, but then, surprise. We all know what happened at the ending of 2021. I do not need to mention it here, but we ended up doing a little lunch, like an outdoor lunch, because just the core group of my friends, because we thought it would be safer for everybody, and then at least we got to see people. Another friend of mine who lives in Albuquerque flew in for like the holidays and stuff, stayed at his parents' house, and it was really, really nice to see him because I hadn't seen him in 2 years. And yeah, it's just, his sister came down, like we all got to see each other like all together after 2 years. And so it was very, very nice. And it's something that I desperately needed. So I did take some pictures. I printed them black and white because colors are funky and I wanted things to sort of be neutral and match and stuff like that. And so I just kind of printed a few out here and then wrote some stuff about that. My friend actually gave me like a little gift, and so some of the stickers I used the camera sticker here that was in the gift, and then the tag. And yeah, so that's documenting that. And then I think here I go on and talk a little bit more about this, but I watched Love Actually because it's my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I love it so much. I would love to live in Love Actually. Like, I love it so much. It's so early 2000s. It is wonderful. I love it so much. I love the cast. I love the storylines. I just think it's really cute. Like, this is my type of flick. And I watch it every year. Literally watch Love Actually every single year. I think there was one December that I just watched it all. Like, I watched it like 3 or 4 times. And that totally ended up in my December daily. But yeah, I had to. It's Love Actually. It's my favorite film. And then here so what happened was, this is Christmas Eve. So we all went lunch, happy dory, whatever. My friend Kat, whose birthday it was, who was going to go to California, she actually left early because she had an appointment. My other friend went to work, and a core group of us, basically us here, we went over to my friend's house, his parents' house, to catch up, to chill out, catch up, whatever. Come Christmas Eve, my lovely friend Kat, she messages all of us saying that her partner is positive with the C19, and she had just seen us, and so we all kind of like, this was during the holiday times, and I live in New York City, and to try to find a testing place that wasn't like a 3-hour long wait or like anything to get tested was virtually impossible. Did end up getting a at-home test, which also was very hard to come by. If you live in the United States, like, or just anywhere, I think it's just like very hard to come by these things. I whatever. I don't want to talk about it here. Did end up getting a test. Did end up getting tested negative. And all of my friends that I was with, they all tested negative. Even my friend Kat, whose partner tested positive. She ended up like, I don't know, like 4 days later testing positive, but around the time that she saw us, we all tested negative, and we're all fine. Like, this was in December, we are all fine, and everything ended up being fine, but that is what I journaled about here. And I actually put the little certificate of quality that came in the little testing kit thing here, and then I put this because I literally binge watched the entire 2nd season of Emily in Paris. It had literally just dropped, and that is all I did. I love the show. I love Lily Collins. She is my favorite. And yeah, I basically binge watched it the minute that it dropped, and now I have to wait to see if there's going to be a season 3. But yeah, that's why it's there. That's what I talked about, was that whole test fiasco and that. So like little things like that, like my December was very uneventful, but just things like that. It's, what do? We live in the time, right? 25th, I was going through a lot of big emotions that I journaled a lot. This is what I mean by sometimes it was just straight up journaling. I actually had to add this little tip-in card here because there was just a lot to get out. The 26th looks like it was a continuation of that. Just a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotional things to get out. And you know what? I'm learning that a lot of my journals now is just this. It's just straight up journaling. And that is okay. It's completely okay. To just sort of mix the memory keeping, mix the mixed media with the straight up journaling. I find it so therapeutic, and it's helped with my flow. I've created a new sort of style of journaling for me that works, and I love it. This is an old Studio Calico card that says sweater weather is better weather. Oh my god. Sweater weather is better weather. And I just cut it up and put it in here because it was fitting. This is the 27th, and I believe here I talked about this guy. No, I talked about The Mandalorian because I hadn't actually watched any of the Star Wars shows over 2020 quarantine. My partner we did watch like all of the Star Wars movies. He's very into Star Wars. We watched all of the films, but I hadn't watched any of the shows. I think I was supposed to watch them in an order. I don't know. But I decided just to get my mind off of my mind, pretty much, to watch The Mandalorian since there were 2 seasons. And I'm like, oh, this is enough to binge watch. I can do this. And so that is what I did. I watched The Mandalorian, and you know what? I love it. I love the Star Wars shows. The Star Wars shows are my absolute favorite. Since then, I did watch the Book of Boba Fett, and honestly, I love the shows. I've loved the shows. The shows are amazing. And so while I was watching The Mandalorian, I did draw. I had an attempt at drawing little Grogu here, Baby Yoda. And when I say attempt, I mean attempt. This was my second attempt. I drew one and then it didn't come out right. And so then I tried a different approach. And I actually really, really like how it turned out. I'm very rusty when it comes to drawing because I don't do it often like I used to. But I really, really liked how he came out. Very cute. Very cute, very what I was going for. And so I drew it on watercolor paper, and then I eventually just fussy cut it out because I realized I wanted it in my journal. And so I put it in my journal, and I literally talked about season 1 of Mandalorian because that is what I just finished watching. So I feel like here was supposed to be a photograph of something, of my books. Okay, so I ordered tons of books for this year, for 2022, because my goal is to read a lot of books, apparently. And so I have like a stack of books, but all of them are pretty much brand new. They're all secondhand. And yeah, I ordered a ton of them, and I think a bunch of them came in this day. And so I was writing that down, writing my intention for reading a lot of books. And I think my intention was to print a picture of my book stack here, but I just never did. But that's okay. More writing. I think the rest of my December daily is just all writing. Yeah. So the 29th, the 30th, the 31st was all writing. And then at the end, I documented sort of my one little word and then some supporting words here. And so my word for 2022 is becoming, and the definition that I'm following is beginning to be. And I have some supporting words. One is like let go, change, inspire, and then balance. I actually did a whole post on this on my Gentle Unfurling Instagram account where I wanted to add joy. And so I did eventually add joy as one of my supporting words. It actually replaces, I think, inspire. And so I have let go and change. I have establishing balance, and then kind of cultivating joy. And then once I can cultivate joy, then I can inspire and be inspired. And so that's what I changed it up to. But at the time, at the ending of December, this is what it was. And so I have it there, and then that's it. That is the end of my December daily. Not as chunky as my previous years, but you know what? I actually love how it feels. Yeah, this was a different December daily. Very different. And that's okay. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have a pause. It's okay for things to be quiet. It's okay for things to not be okay. And it's completely fine. And this is just a little snapshot of that time in my life. And that's what it is. And I actually really love it. I really, really love it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to show you a look at my December daily. I really hope you are well. I do have another journal that I'm going to flip through for you, so there will be another video. I know I've been very quiet on the tubes lately, and I think taking a break has been good for me. I do eventually want to come back. I do, because I really miss sharing. It's just I'm trying to figure out my own stuff. I'm trying to figure out my own flow. My journaling process has definitely changed. My documenting process has definitely changed. I am not really scrapbooking anymore. And so just the process and the flow and just my life has changed. And I like change. I really do. It's just learning to adapt to change, especially change that you didn't expect coming. That is always difficult for me. But yeah, so eventually I'm hopeful that I will kind of pop back in more regularly, because I know a lot of you really enjoy my videos, and I appreciate all of you so much, so much. Like, I always have to remind myself that there are people that I've never met in person in my entire life who care a lot about me and the little sliver of my life that I share. And that's just a practice in gratitude that I need to keep cultivating and keep being mindful of, because it is a very strong thing to recognize that, there are strangers out there who actually care, about you, who actually enjoy what you kind of give to the world, in a sense. Yeah, and I appreciate all of you. So yeah, that is my journal. I will be back on with definitely another flip through. I think the next journal that I have to flip through is my unraveling journal, which, yeah, we'll talk about that in that video. But yeah, really hope you enjoyed this look at my 2021 December daily. Thank you so much for being here and for watching my video, and I will see you next time. Bye.